What's up, nail geeks? I am back with Polish Pickup March 2021. I have a little over 30 items to show you guys again this month. I also have a sponsored giveaway, so be sure to leave a comment down below and I will pick 10 winners to receive a $10 PPU gift code to the shop. If I reply to your comment, you are a winner. Please email me, and I'll also do a pinned post in the comments section. The giveaway will end Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Time. I'm doing it a little earlier with a tighter turnaround time, which I do apologize for, but I want you guys to be able to spend your gift codes this weekend if you so choose. And I do apologize about me being just a touch late on this video. Aside from all the things I have going on in my personal life right now, I also was waiting on a few shipments for this video and they arrived on Monday, so I've been cranking it out, and I've got my review up now, which I am so proud of myself. This was a beast to create. So I will quit talking and let's dive right in and let's see how quickly we can get through all of these. First up is 1422 Designs. This is a Perilous journey described as a rusty red jelly with red to orange to yellow shifting shimmer, gold to green to orange to red shifting flakes, and gold flakes. This is inspired by the Monarch butterfly and its migration pattern. Price is $12 and there is a cap of 100 bottles. So this is true to its description, quite a bit on the jelly side in terms of finish. It does plump up really nicely and has quite a strong squishy factor. So I'm going to suggest going in light on your coats and allowing it just to slowly build up. I personally took it to 3 coats and I found that it really helped darken out that jelly base. I do agree it's a warm sort of rusty red base color. Quite a bit of flaky action happening here. And depending on your nail length, you might be able to get away with 2 coats, but I thought that 3rd coat just helped to really bring out that color and give me maximum flaky payoff. Now this does dry down flat, so I am using a glossy top coat in the full hand shot here. More on that later, but the one I'm using for this entire video is Cuticula's Limitless. And next is Alchemy Lacquers Metamorphosis. This is described as a mint green crelly with orange to green shifting flakes, orange to green shimmer, hollow flakes, and red to orange to green shifting micro glitters. This is inspired by the chrysalis of Monarch butterflies. Price is $11.50 and there's a cap of 200 bottles. So this has a very similar feel to her previous month's release for PPU. It's a very crelly-like formula. It dries down quite harsh in terms of flatness, so I'm going to suggest a good glossy top coat. Now this does have a very rich, quite squishy sort of heavy feel though, even though it does apply just a touch light in terms of opacity. So I'm going to suggest going in very thin on your coats and just allowing it to slowly build up. I think 3 coats is going to flatter this one the best. I do think that, at least on my monitor here, I'm seeing this color accurate to what I'm seeing in person. I think this is one of those tricky sort of pastel shades that, depending on your lighting, might lean just a touch one way or the other. But I do agree this is definitely a minty sort of green in person. And once again, on my full hand shot, I've got my glossy top coat on. And next is Aurora. She brings us also a Metamorphosis. This is described as a deep fuchsia, kind of burgundy jelly, packed with UCC flakes and glitter flakes. This is inspired by the swallowtail butterfly. Price is $13 and there is a cap of 200 US and 20 UK. So the formula on this is quite jelly. It's got that juicy sort of jelly factor to it. Now, overall, the feel of the brush strokes and how it applies, in my opinion, is on the lighter side. So I'm going to suggest going in for 3 coats on it just to maximize your flaky payoff and really get that base color to pop. I do agree this one is a touch on that fuchsia, might lean a little bit on the burgundy side, but I do think it's more of this darker sort of fuchsia in person. The flakies are all over the place on this one. Really nice mosaic sort of effect. And again, on the 3rd coat, you can see just how much it just pops really well. Now this also dries down very flat. So to get that really juicy jelly sort of appearance, I'm going to suggest a good glossy top coat to finish it off. And also, side note, I wanted to note that The flakes in this, in comparison to the base itself, is quite a bit on the heavier side, so I'm going to suggest giving your bottle a really good shake before applying. And next is Baroness X Coronet. This is a green to blue to purple, magenta to gold multichrome base with pink to gold to green magnetic multichrome pigment, plus a rainbow of iridescent flakes mixed in. This is inspired by the Coronet Hummingbird. Price is $13 and there is a cap of $200. So this has a very rich feeling on application. It builds up very quickly to opacity. It is quite shifty in person. The base itself is quite shifty. And when you magnetize it, it also really shifts between this pinky sort of effect and gold. Really, really nice. Now I'm going in and magnetizing both of my coats. I think 2 coats is perfect, and finish off with a glossy top coat. And don't forget to magnetize after your glossy top coat, and you'll be good to go. And Baroness X also brings us Acetone Antidote in the scent Tea Time in a Rose Garden. I like to put a full vial of this in a Zoya Remove pump bottle, or any pump bottle for that matter, which is roughly 8 ounces. I also like to use it and put a drop or 2 in my dappen dishes while I'm cleaning up, and I also put in 100% acetone. This month smells very strongly of rose. It's one of my favorite scents, but I will note it's a very powerful scent, so straight up rose action happening. And next is by Dany Vianna, Butterfly Effect. This is a purple to black thermal filled with pink Aurora shimmer. This is inspired by an image of a purple butterfly. Price is $13 and there's a cap of 300 bottles. This formula is phenomenal. So I'm always raving about this brand's formulas. They always apply so buttery smooth and self-leveling, and this one is no exception. This is such a rich color, and that's coming from someone who doesn't typically lean towards purples a whole lot. The shimmer is quite medium in terms of strength. It gives you this nice scattered sort of larger particle size, reddish sort of cast. Really lovely. For full opacity, I'm going to suggest 2 coats. It builds up so smooth. Now it does dry down flat, true to a thermal, so I'm going to suggest a good glossy top coat, and you can see on my full hand shot just how satisfying and plump and creamy it looks. Both the warm and the cold state are really, really lovely. I feel like the ice water shot's giving you a better idea of how deep to almost eggplant black sort of cold state against the warm state. I think both colors are really flattering, and after a glossy top coat, so smooth. And next is Cameo Colors Lacquers Humming Bee. This is a slightly grayed white Girly with scattered hollow sparkle, aqua to indigo shimmer, blue, violet, copper, and violet to pink to gold UCC flakes, plus hollow micro flakes. This is inspired by the Bee Hummingbird. Price is $11.50 and there is a cap of 100 US and 5 UK. So this has a very crelly formula to it, very easy to build up. I personally love white crellies like this. I do agree that this is a grade sort of white crelly, but it does very slightly lean towards being more of a stark sort of more brighter type of grade appearance. Now for opacity, I'm going to suggest 3 coats on it just to maximize that plumping effect and get lots and lots of flaky action. I really love white bases with a rainbow type of appearance to them. They're just really pretty. And this one also dries down semi-gloss, so I think any top coat is going to be perfectly fine with it. I think the full hand shot is showing off just a touch of that indigo sort of shimmer happening in the background too. And Crystal Knockout brings us a Delicate Rust. This is a warm amber to violet purple multichrome base with red to gold color shifting glitter, orange micro glitter, and chameleon flakes in purple, gold, and green. This is inspired by the ringlet butterfly resting on purple flowers. Price is $12 and there is no cap. So this has a very jelly formula to it. Overall, it does apply just a touch on the lighter side. So I'm going to suggest 3 coats for full opacity, and I think it'll really bring out that multi-chrome effect. In indoor lighting, you're going to see this burgundy-ish, almost purpley sort of cast, kind of like what you see on the video in bright lights. And in angles and in shaded lighting, it does have a very easy gold shift to it. So it's almost this orangey sort of gold, if you will. Now the flakes also have a touch of this matching sort of color roll against that base. So you'll get this nice speckled effect with this warm multi-chrome effect too, especially for the overall color roll of it. Now it does dry down very flat here too. So again, you're seeing a glossy top coat on my full hand shot. And next is Cupcake Polish Monarchy. This is a dark gray polish packed with orange to red to gold flakes and holographic micro flakes. This is inspired by Monarch butterflies. Price is $13 and there is no cap. So this has a very jelly-like formula to it, but it does apply very smooth on the nail, very easy to build to opacity. Now, this is really going to depend on both your nail length and how you apply, whether you wear it at 2 or 3 coats. I personally took it to 3 coats. I thought it really helped that smoky base to just build up and pop very well. So it's going to depend on your preference, but you can see on the second coat that it definitely does offer full coverage there, but again, your preference. Now this does dry down flat, so again, glossy top coat, and I think you'll be good to go. I really liked how the flakes are of the larger size in this one, and they go really well with the silver micro flakes here. It definitely reminds me of the Monarch butterfly in general, with that nice orangey and gold and green sort of shift with the flakes, and then those white spots in the background, and then the smoky gray base. Finish off with a glossy top coat and you'll be good to go. And Cuticula brings us Dreams Take Flight. This is a navy jelly base with orange to green shifting iridescent glitters, neon orange dots, neon yellow orange dots, and shifting ultra chrome flakes. This is $12.50 and there is no cap. So this has a very juicy jelly formula to it. It does apply a touch on the heavy side, especially because the larger shifty glitters are of the heavier type. So I'm going to suggest going in light on your coats and letting it slowly build up, and you'll get this really nice pond effect with the glitters showing in between your layers. Now this does dry down thirsty and textured, so I'm going to suggest a thin or light coat of a glitter smoothing top coat underneath your glossy top coat. That way you'll get that really juicy jelly appearance and you'll see this really strong glossy effect. Now the glitters themselves are these lovely iridescent sort of shifty goodness. They offer this warm sort of color roll against that cool toned base. I think for the most part, 3 thin coats are going to be perfect. Those of you with somewhat shorter nails than me, you might be able to get away with 2 coats. And then Cuticula is also bringing us her Limitless top coat this month. I have used this a lot on my videos so far, and ones that you guys haven't seen yet. This month's is scented in raspberry sugar, and it smells just like that. Very pleasant. It's light. I have been using it quite a bit, so I'd say for me, I can smell it on my nails pretty much a day or 2 later. And it smells very much what I would describe as a candied sort of raspberry. It's this sugary sort of sweet, pleasant, fruity scent, but definitely in the raspberry category. And Dom Nail Polish brings us Mr. Nectar Collector. This is a green polish with a strong linear holographic finish. Scattered throughout are assorted blue UCC flakes and a touch of hollow flakes. This is inspired by a beautiful green and blue hummingbird. Price is $12.50 and there's a cap of 200 bottles. So the formula to this is jelly-like, but it's very easy to reach opacity. So I think for the most part, 2 coats is going to be across the board for most, and it just plumped out so well on the second coat. Now, as you can see here, that there's this strong holographic effect, but what really catches your eyes are those blue flakes. They're very nice. They shift between this aqua shade and blue and somewhat purple in darker lighting. This dries down semi-gloss, so I think any top coat will be perfectly fine with it, and it'll seal you in and get that nice color roll against those flakes. And Different Dimension brings us Antisocial Butterfly. This is a violet jelly loaded with red to gold to green to orange, color shifting Aurora shimmers, and holographic micro flakes. This is inspired by the Marpesia butterfly. Price is $12 and there is no cap. So the formula on this is somewhat jelly, but it's just so easy to apply, very smooth on brush strokes, just really nice overall, very satisfying. Now this is chock full of shimmer and holographic flakes. It's absolutely wonderful. And for the most part, I think 2 coats is going to be perfect for most. Very easy and self-smoothing formula. Absolutely wonderful. Now this dries down somewhat flat, so I would suggest using a good glossy top coat and you'll be good to go. It just helps all of that shimmer to pop really well. And again, you are seeing Cuticula's Limitless on the full hand shots for all of these polishes. And Esmaltes de Kelly brings us Occamy. This is a blue ultra chrome that shifts to purple, turquoise, and iridescent flakes that also shift in turquoise and blue. Price is $12.50 and there's a cap of 600 bottles. This is very, very shifty in person. So in indoor lighting, you're going to see this aqua sort of glow with it, and at the edges of your nails, especially if you have a strong C curve, meaning that your nail has a strong bend to it, you'll see this purple sort of shift at the edges around where your cuticles are. Really nice. Now for opacity, I'm going to suggest 3 coats on it. This has one of those very chrome-like finishes in that there are quite a bit of metallic flakes here that just kind of help to bring the opacity out. And it does dry down quite flat, true to a chrome style polish. So I'm going to suggest a good glossy top coat. And you can see on the full hand shot here, just a touch of that shift in person. I will show one of my macro shots at the end of the video during the recap. There is a very strong purple shift to this one too. And Fair Maiden Polish brings us in Plume. This is a rosy magenta when cold to white when warm thermal with color shifting shimmer, multi-chrome flakes, and hollow sparkle. This is inspired by a picture of a peacock. Price is $11 and there is no cap on it. So the formula to this is very Girly-like, but it's very smooth and creamy on application. There's quite a bit of a squish factor with it, so it builds up very quickly. Now, true to thermals, this does dry down quite flat, bordering on being matte. So again, I would suggest a good glossy top coat. You'll have easy spreading of those flakes on your nails. There was only a couple times that I just helped kind of push them around a little bit, but otherwise I had no issues in terms of fishing. I got quite a bit of flakes up on the brush. Now the ice water shot here I think is giving you a better idea of the thermal properties to it. Both states are really flattering, especially against those flaky sort of shiftiness happening with that, and I had no issues getting it to transition. And Femme Fatale brings us Golden Bird. This is a blackened murky purple base filled with a glistening copper shifting pigment that flashes through the gold, then green, and filled with golden hollow micro glitters. Price is $14. So this is another really stunning one. It is just very glowy in person. Now the base is absolutely this purpley sort of dusky base, but all of the other pigments in here just kind of take over everything. There's a very strong copper glow when you build it up, and it shifts over to this lovely green and gold at angles. Now for opacity, I'm going to suggest between 2 and 3 coats. You can tell between my second and third coat that I absolutely had opacity, but I felt that third coat really helped to plump it out and just give this more thicker appearance that I'm usually going for when I'm wearing polish. Now this dries down quite flat, bordering on being a matte, so I'd suggest a good glossy top coat just to get all that sparkle to really come out even more. And Girly Bits brings us Squawk This Way. This is a soft pink shimmer with a touch of a peached and coral and pinky gold at angles. This is inspired by flamingos. Price is $13 and there's a cap of 300 bottles. So the formula on this is quite dense. It's one of those types of almost Girly-like finishes that builds up very quickly to opacity. It's got this solid type of feel on the brush strokes. Now it does plump up very quickly, so depending on your preference, depends on whether or not you'll want to stop at 2 coats or take it up to a third thin coat. I personally wanted to take it up to a third coat just to see how much more I can get it to pop in terms of that nice pinky sort of finish. So honestly, I think either 2 or 3 coats is perfect, especially if you're going to go in thin with it. Now, this does dry down somewhat satin-like, so I'm going to suggest a good glossy top coat. In indoor lighting, this takes on this really lovely pearly sort of pink, and at angles and in shaded lighting, there's definitely this golden and coral sort of shift. And Glisten and Glow brings us Hypnotized by the Peacock's Eyes. This is a medium green with blue shimmer, blue to green to gold iridescent flakes, and aqua to blue chrome flakes and rainbow crystal flakes. This is inspired by Peacocks. Price is $12.50 and there is no cap on it. So this has a very jelly-like formula, in my opinion, builds up very nicely to opacity, and for full coverage, I'm going to suggest between 2 and 3 coats. This is another one that's really going to depend on your personal preference. As you build it up, you'll get quite a bit of this contrast between this blue, gold, orange, and green flaky color roll against that really nice medium green. It's almost like this foresty sort of green, very, very pretty. And you can see on the third coat here that it plumps up really nice. So again, really going to depend on your preference. I personally found that 3 thinner coats on it helped to maximize the flaky payoff. I had no issues getting them out of the bottle, easy peasy action, so no issues in terms of fishing or anything like that, especially given that the flakes are quite strong in this one. Now again, this one also dries down flat, so I'm going to suggest a good glossy top coat. Now, Glisten and Glow also brings us Cuticle Oil and Cuticle Remover Duo. Both products are scented in Citrus Refresher, which is a blend of orange, lemon, and lime. It's a bright and bold and crisp wake me up type scent. Price is $12 and there is no cap. So I'm going to do a real quickie thing here, given that I'm trying to be as straight to the point with as much as I have to show you guys in this video. So I'm starting off with the Cuticle Remover. I think at this point you guys know my routine. I basically slather my cuticles in it, and then I go in with either a shovel type of cuticle pusher, or in this case, this is the glass cuticle pusher exclusive to PPU. Unfortunately, these are not quite in stock just yet, but I know they are working very hard behind the scenes in getting them restocked in the shop. So you basically add on the remover, wait about a minute, remove any excess skin, kind of push back your cuticles, and then wash your hands really good with soap and water to remove any of the remover. And then I'm going in here. I have added my gel overlay and I've filed and trimmed down, and now I'm going in with the oil. Both are scented really nice. So this smells, I get mostly this very strong orange and lemon lime type of scent. I do agree, it's a very wake me up, crispy sort of scent, very citrusy. And Hearts and Promises brings us Spring Forward. This is a deep olive green to red to purple multi-chrome sprinkled with blue to purple UCC flakes. Price is $12.50 and there is a cap of 200 bottles. So this has a very jelly-like formula in my opinion. I think it also has quite a bit of a lighter type of application overall. So I'm going to suggest going in normal to light on your coats and taking it up to 3 coats. I think it maximized the multi-chrome pigment in here, and it helped to plump it out really nice. Now, again, I think this does have a lighter type of formula to it. So if you have a very prominent free edge, I'm really going to recommend that 3rd coat just to help cover it up. This has a very strong glowing factor to it. In indoor lighting and in bright lights, you'll see pretty much what you see on the video, this olive green in the background, but a very strong reddish, almost copperish sort of cast to it. And at angles, there's this lovely golden sort of glow. And again, I would suggest finishing off with a glossy top coat. And Indie by Patty Lopez brings us Precious Nectar. This is a pastel blue to purple multi-chrome with hollow micro flakes. This is inspired by a picture of a butterfly harvesting nectar. Price is $12 and there is a cap of 250 bottles. So this is another one that has quite a almost jelly sort of feel to it. This is what I would consider one of those more sheer type of polishes, but it's got a very strong glowing factor to it. So quite a bit of this dense sort of scattered sparkle with the holographic microflakes. And when you build it up to 3 coats, it takes on this somewhat dusky sort of backdrop, but the shimmer again is very strong. It has a really nice luminous glow to it. I can see this also doubling as a topper over various cream undies, but if you wear it on its own, please note that if you have a prominent free edge like myself, in very bright lights, you will absolutely see your smile line. But I personally think it's worth it as this one has a lot of glow. Now it does dry down flat, so again, I'd suggest a good glossy top coat. And Lemming Lacquer brings us Godard's Morpho Butterfly. I think I said that correct. This is described as a pastel multichrome shifting cyan to blue to purple with iridescent flakes shifting pink to orange to gold to green. This is inspired by the soft blue and pink iridescence of the wings of the Godard Morpho Butterfly. Price is $13 and there is a cap of 200 bottles. So this has a very crelly formula to it, has quite a strong squish factor, and when you build it up, I'm going to suggest going in for 2 coats on it as it plumps up and has a strong squishy factor to it. So it's very easy to give off that nice plumping effect I'm usually going for. Now the base color is what I would consider more of this dusky sort of gray effect. The shimmer and the flakes give a very colorful sort of iridescent effect that mostly, in my opinion, shifts between golds, pinks, and a touch of greens depending on your lighting. Now this does dry down quite flat, so again, you're seeing a glossy top coat. And MJ Lacquer brings us Spread Your Wings and Fly. This is an orange to red to yellow trithermal base with copper to red to gold to orange to green iridescent flakes and gold metallic flakes. This is also infused with red to gold Aurora shimmer and sprinkled with green micro glitter. This is inspired by the Sun Parakeet. Price is $12 and there is a cap of 140 bottles. So this has a very crelly-like formula to it, very easy to build up, has a really nice spreading factor on it, stays exactly where you put it. I had no issues getting the thermal to just transition very well across my nails. So please note I was running a little warm under my swatching lights when I was working on this one. So there is absolutely a third very deeper sort of orange state to this one, but I think you'll dominantly see that yellow to orange sort of temperature difference between it. So if you're really cold, you'll see that darker sort of shade. And MLF Lacquer brings us Pink Pigeon. This is a cool toned neon pink polish with aqua to blue to purple to pink, color shifting iridescent flakes, violet to blue shimmer, and holographic flakes. This is inspired by the Pink Pigeon from the UK. Price is $11 and there's a cap of 190 US and 10 UK. So fun fact, I actually voice these over straight through. So typically when I get about halfway through, I start getting a little tongue-tied. If you start hearing me chuckle to myself, it's because I am tripping over my words here. So Pink Pigeon has a really nice curly formula to it, very plump action, and depending on your preference, I think 2 to 3 coats will be perfect on it. This has a really nice smooth formula, and I do agree with the official description. It's a very cool toned neon pink, very vibrant. I think this is one of those pinks that's going to flatter pretty much any skin tone and just pop very well, especially with all the purpley sort of blue flakes. It does dry down flat, so I'd suggest a good glossy top coat. And Night Owl Lacquer brings us All Aflutter. This is a black to burgundy to red multichrome with blue to purple to red crystal chameleon flakes inspired by a picture of a butterfly. Price is $13 and there is no cap. So the formula on this is quite jelly. It does have this heavier sort of feel, especially given how packed full of flakes it is. So I'm going to suggest going in normal to light on your coats and taking it up to 3 coats. You'll see here in a moment that I had pretty good opacity on the second coat, but I think that third coat just helps it pop really well. This is chock full of flakes and it gives this really nice blue to purple luminescent effect. It's very vampy in person. I think for the most part it takes on this more black sort of base, but at very extreme angles you can see that burgundy and red in the background. I think it's a touch on the subtle side, but in shaded lighting you'll see it the best. But again, what's going to take your eyes the most is that nice flaky action. This also dries down flat, so to get that juicy jelly effect, I'd suggest a glossy top coat. And polish brings us Dolly's Butterflies. This is a deep indigo with tons of hollow flakes and metallic multichrome shimmer that shifts from golden olive to green and blue. This is inspired by the painting Ships with Butterfly Sails by Salvador Dali. Price is $13 and there is no cap. This has another very satisfying formula to it. Very easy to build up to opacity and is just so stinking glowy in person. This is going to take on quite a bit of this olivey sort of green effect depending on your lighting, and then some lighting will also have this golden sort of cast to it. And I do agree with the official description. There are so much holographic flakes in this. Very easy to build up. I think 2 coats is going to be perfect for most across the board. And finishing off with a good glossy top coat will get that nice holographic action to happen. And Pampered Polishes brings us Ixnay on the Oupid Stay. This is described as a white crelly loaded with a variety of blue glitters and flakes sprinkled with orange and yellow glitters. This is inspired by Zazu. Price is $12.50 and there is no cap. So this has a very heavy, creamy sort of bordering crelly formula. It's quite dense and very easy to build up. I'd suggest going in for 2 coats on it as it plumps out really well on the second coat. Now this dries down quite harsh, really strong, almost as a matte. So I'm going to suggest a good glossy top coat. And depending on the top coat that you're using, you might want to use a glitter smoother with this one too, as again, it dries down quite harsh. So really going to depend on your preference, but I personally find that glitter smoothers, they just work so well even without something being overly textured. I just think it kind of helps even out, especially harsh sort of finishes like this one. And Penelope Loose brings us Splendid Flight. This is a magenta base with magnetic purple shimmer and some micro glitters. Inspired by the flight of a bird. Price is $13 and there's a cap of 500 US and 50 UK. So this has a strong metallic-like finish to it, especially on application here because of the magnetic pigment. And for the most part, I think 2 coats is going to be perfect with it. I like to go a touch heavier on magnetics just to ensure that I have plenty of magnetic pigment to really give me a stark line when I use a magnet. So 2 coats is perfect, and I'm going in with DRK Nails Magic Magnetic Top Coat. Of course, you don't have to use this. It's just a way for me to show you guys what polishes look like, both magnetized and unmagnetized. And you can see here, going in with the glossy top coat afterwards, so pretty, this strong, very magnetic sort of appearance and a very flattering base. And Poetry Cowgirl brings us Carol Bird. This is a bright yellow jelly shimmer packed with pink to blue to orange and white glitters and contrasting red to gold to green Aurora shifting shimmer. This is inspired by Big Bird, named in honor of Carol Spinney, who voiced and played Big Bird from 1969 to 2018. Price is $12 and there is no cap. So this has a very squishy jelly-like formula to it. I did have to do just a touch of glitter placement on some of my other nails, as the glitters are quite a bit on the heavier side, and the formula overall has this really squishy feel to it. But overall, I had no issues in terms of extreme fishing or anything like that. This is quite a bit what I would consider more of a primary color type of yellow base, and the shimmer is a touch subtle in person, but you'll get this somewhat shimmery sort of reddish cast when you're finished. And I'm also going to suggest a glitter smoothing top coat with this one, as it does have just a touch of texture when it dries down, and it'll give you that nice smooth glossy effect. And Pretty Beautiful Unlimited brings us Flit. This is a clear base packed with holographic pigments and micro flakes, starlight shifting shimmer, a custom mix of crystal chameleon flakes and UCC flakes topped off with silver hollow micro glitters and chameleon glitters. Inspired by hummingbirds, price is $12.50 and there's a cap of 150 US and 10 UK. Quite a mouthful there. So this is absolutely what I would consider one of those kitchen sink sort of polishes. There's so much going on with it, quite a bit of a sparkly effect. If you go in very light at one coat, I do think it offers a touch of versatility with being a topper. And I'm also going to suggest a good glossy top coat to finish off with this one, and you'll be good to go. This has a bit of this shimmery sort of reddish cast in the background. Now, Pretty Beautiful Unlimited is bringing us another wax sampler. This has really wonderful scents in it. Now, this one I smelt quite a ways away from the mailbox when I went down to get it. It's really lovely. So last month, actually, I started melting one of the scents. I can't remember what it was called. I think it had some type of ginger to it. It was wonderful. That coconut pear PS is awesome. Anyways, so I was melting one of them and I am absolutely loving them. Now this month, it almost seems like some of the shapes are a touch bigger. And here, each of the bags also comes with a charm. I got a cute little owl in mine, and overall, really wonderful. This bag contains up to 8 ounces of wax. And again, these will be 8 with a cap of 180 US and 20 UK. And Quixotic Polish brings us Glitter Fly. This is a turquoise to purple to red multi-chrome filled with gold micro glitters, inspired by butterflies all over the binders and shirts in the early 2000s. Price is $12, and there's a cap of 350 bottles. This is very shifty in person. I think it's one of those polishes with the type of glitter in here. I think it's one of those that you have to see on a video because it sparkles so well when you go in with a glossy top coat. In person, this has a strong blue sort of cast to it, but you can easily see a turquoise shift in brighter lights and a strong reddish cast at extreme angles. Really nice. This has an easy to build formula. I'm going to suggest 2 coats on it, and it plumps out really well. Very easy to apply. Now, you might want to use a glitter smoothing top coat with this one too, just depending on what your glossy top coat is. I think it'll help to really maximize the sparkly effect for the glitters in this one too. And Rogue Lacquer brings us Hatched. This is a creamy robin's egg blue with copper metallic flakes, inspired by robin's eggs. Price is $12, and there is no cap. So this has quite a strong crelly-like factor to it. Very easy to build up. I went in what I consider normal for myself, and I had excellent opacity at 2 coats. If you polish quite thin, you might need a 3rd coat, but this self-levels really nicely. So depending on your preference, I do agree that this is a robin's egg blue polish. This is one of those colors I think can lean just a touch more green or blue depending on your lighting. But in my opinion, I think this has a very deeper sort of blue lean, almost baby blue mixed in with that robin's egg blue, if that makes sense. And Scofflaw Nail Varnish brings us Stork Raven Mad, described as a gray curly base packed with glitters in black, various hues of blue and mint green, and finish off with hollow blue and aqua shimmer. This is inspired by bird puns, which we've come to expect at this point from Scofflaw. Price is $12.50, and there is no cap. So this has a very curly formula to it, really nice buildup. I've come to expect it very much so from Scofflaw. Easy curly action and just so loaded up with glitters and goodies. Now this dries down flat, a touch textured and thirsty, so I'm strongly going to suggest using a glitter smoothing top coat underneath your glossy top coat to smooth everything out and really glossify the natural strong matte finish of this one. Now I had no problems fishing for glitters or anything like that. This applied very opaque, and I think for the most part 2 coats is going to be perfect for most. And again, on the full hand shot, I am wearing a glitter smoothing top coat underneath Cuticula's Limitless top coat. And last but not least, we've got Supernatural Lacquer, Creatures of the Night. This is a black to red multi-chrome in a smoky curly base with micro hollow flakes. This is inspired by bats. Price is $12, and there is a cap of 225 bottles. So this is what I would consider a touch on the curly side in terms of finish, but it does have just the slightest bit more of a jelly-like lean to it. So the base color as you build it up takes on this very smoky gray sort of effect, but at angles, you'll see this lovely black to red multi-chrome pigment. I do think it is a touch subtle in person, but when you're in shaded lighting and at extreme angles, you'll really see that red glow to it that shifts over to this blackish reddish sort of cast. So really interesting take using that pigment in that the base color itself here has more of this murky sort of dusky gray effect. But again, I do think in person you can see it. It's a touch subtle, but this is what I would consider more of this deep gray to red shift at extreme angles. Now it does dry down flat, so I'm going to suggest 3 coats and a glossy top coat. So wish listing is currently open in the shop right now. The shop will open this Friday, March 5th at 11 a.m. Eastern time and will run until March 8th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. Again, wish listing is open. I've got quite a few on my list right now. There are some really pretty polishes this month. I actually was a little miffed, if I'm honest, about the theme, and I was like, you know, what can we possibly do with spring and or rather the birds and butterflies sort of thing, but I'm a little shook. I really like what the makers brought this month. So you know what? I eat my words and I will no longer side eye any of the themes that get chosen because the makers really bring it. And I really like that there's quite a bit of a different finish overall. Now I am running that giveaway, so please don't forget, all you have to do is enter by leaving a comment on the video. Just let me know what you're gonna get, what's on your wish list. Did I help? All that good stuff, or was I a really dirty enabler? At least I try to be. And again, I do apologize about coming in just a touch on the tardy side for this post, but the giveaway will run until this coming Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Time. Again, I will make sure to do a pinned comment on this video, just kind of reiterating who the winners are. And 10 of you will be chosen randomly through a comment picker website. And I will reply to your comments also. And all you have to do is email me and I'll send you a code for a $10 gift code to the shop. So I will link you guys below to Polish Pickup's website so you can get in there if you need to edit that wish list or anything like that. And I'll also link you guys to the Facebook fan group so you can see additional swatches, all that good stuff. Lots and lots of things to see this month. Again, just make sure you enter my giveaway and go get those wish lists ready. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.